Salutations and welcome to the first ever episode of the Roar Rundown Sports Podcast, a weekly podcast talking about anything and everything related to Ouachita Baptist Tiger Athletics. I'm Chris Gay, and I am thrilled that you are joining us, and I am so excited for the 2023-2024 athletic season for the Tigers. A big thank you to the Ouachita Baptist Band for providing that great music intro for us. For those that are not familiar, Ouachita Baptist University is a private Division II school in Arkadelphia, Arkansas, that competes in the Great American Conference. Students like me and Ouachita Sports Media Department run the show. This podcast will be 100% student run, and we hope that you will be able to follow us along this journey to cover Ouachita and other exciting events in the GAC. And keep in mind, this is student run. Well, what we like to do here with the Roar Rundown Sports Podcast is we like to open it up with the Tiger Prowl preview, which is basically previewing the upcoming Ouachita athletic events, whether that's football, basketball, baseball, just whatever is coming up until our next episode. So, the first Ouachita sporting event is Ouachita football. The Tigers are hitting the road to travel to Weatherford, Oklahoma to take on the Southwestern Oklahoma State Bulldogs. This will be the first, as I mentioned, the first athletic event of the season taking place this August 31st at 6 p.m., barring any changes due to weather. Now, entering his 24th season with the Tigers is head coach Todd Knight, the longest-standing collegiate football coach in Arkansas. Just wanted to add that in there, and just a little bit of context. For those that do not know, the Tigers were undefeated in the Great American Conference last season, did lose in the opening round of the playoffs, but this will be, I think that was the fourth undefeated squad that Coach Knight has coached since he's been here at Ouachita. Just utter dominance since he's been here, and a lot of Tiger fans are expecting more of the same. Well, last season they played the Bulldogs on October 8th, and they were able to handle business pretty nicely, winning that home game. Actually, that was homecoming, 63-24. The Bulldogs, however, they're still in a rebuilding process for their program, but they did make major improvements in 2022 after hiring Josh Kirkland and improving their record from 0-11 in 2021 to 4-7. Despite that, that did not stop the Tigers from racking up a school record of 709 offensive yards against the Bulldogs. That win was certainly emphatic, but something that makes this year's Paul Sharp Cup matchup interesting is that the Bulldogs have a new head coach, as Kirkland left to become the Director of Player Personnel at the University of North Texas. They have a new quarterback, Tylen Morton, who was a fantastic quarterback last season. He's now the quarterback coach at Lovejoy High School in Lucas, Texas. And they have plenty of new offensive and defensive playmakers. Specifically, the top rusher from a year ago for the Bulldogs, Gerald Palmer, he transferred to the University of Texas Permian Basin. The top four receiving targets are gone, as Karsak is the only remaining receiver on that roster that had over 100 yards last season. The top five tacklers are gone, and even Jaron Van Winkle, the kicker/punter, is also gone. On top of that, interim head coach Russell McCoy, who spent last season as the defensive coordinator for his one and only season as the defensive coordinator, he went out and had to hire a new defensive coordinator and a new offensive coordinator. He hired Austin Jackson on the defensive side and Bob Majeski for offense. Jackson has ties to the Great American Conference for those that might recognize the name. He won a conference championship with Henderson State in 2015. Jackson has spent the last two seasons at Southwestern College in Kansas as the linebackers coach and special teams coordinator. And something also worth mentioning, he's won back-to-back conference championships with Southwestern College, so definitely a winning pedigree coming from there. Bob Majeski has held just about every football coaching job you can think of. He's been the head coach of Black Hills State, which is Division II, Oklahoma Panhandle State, which is NAIA, and Dodge City Community College. Majeski has also had a bunch of experience as an offensive coordinator, going all the way back to Trinity Valley Community College in 1989. So hiring sort of an up-and-comer on the defensive side of the ball, and on offense, he had to go out and get some experience. So, those are new faces, a lot of new faces. We don't really know who's going to be the quarterback or the top playmakers yet, but McCoy definitely went out and had 2 solid hires for coordinators. Like I said, Bulldogs have a lot of new faces, but so do the Tigers. Those who are familiar with Ouachita football know that the primary offensive catalyst in 2022 was TJ Cole, who rushed for 1,600 yards and 26 touchdowns. And, of course, he got an NFL opportunity after that. But don't fret, Ouachita fans. Kendall Givens, who has been outstanding the last 2 seasons. He's already been on some record books for rushing touchdowns and whatnot. He was sort of the thunder to Cole's lightning. Now he's going to be both. He's going to be the primary bell cow in that offense. But not only that, but they did lose some their top receiving targets last season. They did keep Connor Flanagan, but they did lose Justin Dean, Tucker Swoboda. He transferred to Tarleton State, and Hunter Swoboda, who also had an NFL opportunity with the Atlanta Falcons in their rookie minicamp. Peyton Stafford and Anthony Sherriz are also gone, and they were huge to contribute to that rushing attack. But of course, they still have plenty of size and experience up front for them. And to cap it off, the Tigers lost some major contributors on their defense. So again, a lot of new faces, but regardless of who's in and who's out, Ouachita football is always something everybody's looking forward to. Again, they were undefeated last season in the Great American Conference. And we can talk about Ouachita football all day long if we wanted to, but we are going to talk about every other sport that is getting ready to play really soon. Ouachita men's soccer is looking to have an improved year heading into 2023, and the Tigers opened their season in Jackson, Tennessee against another Bulldog team in Union University from the Gulf South Conference. Last year, the Bulldogs struggled with a 4-11-1, 1-9-1 conference record. However, they are familiar with Ouachita, as almost a year ago they came to Arkadelphia and beat the Tigers 2-1. For the Tigers, C.J. Washington made the lone goal off an assist by Brandon Avila, while Ostian Bowen and Stan DeVries from the Bulldogs both made goals. For Union, DeVries and Bowen are still there, while the Tigers will have to account for the 2, as Bowen led the team last season in goals with 7 and DeVries was second with 4. For the Tigers, Eben Jordan, who was in a 3-way tie for the most goals on the team last season, is returning, along with Eli Stewart, who was tied for the most assists on the team, and goalie Armani Adelano, who is number 1 in the GAC in saves per game. He is going to be vital to that team's success. As I mentioned, they've struggled in years past, but always look forward to the future, and I have a feeling that Ouachita men's soccer will improve this season, and it starts with Adelano. He was a shutdown goalie. He was excellent despite all the pressure he got. I imagine they improve this season. On Saturday, the Tigers play again in the Volunteer State, this time against Christian Brothers University in Memphis, another Gulf South opponent. The Tigers opened their season last year against Christian Brothers at home, but the game ended in a 1-1 tie. Lucho Galizzi, who scored the lone goal for Christian Brothers and is a formidable offensive threat for the Tigers, as he led the team with 8 goals last season. On a similar note, the Ouachita women's soccer team will be opening their season on the road against the Northeastern State Riverhawks. The Riverhawks came to Cluck Field last season and were able to hand the Tigers their first of 5 losses with the score of 1-0. Both teams had winning records last season, with Ouachita going 9-5-5 and 6-1-5 in the GAC, which was good for number 2 in the conference. This season, the Tigers are the number 1 team in the Great American Conference according to the preseason coaches poll, and I know the Tigers will be looking forward to showing everybody why they are voted number 1 right out of the gate. Ouachita will play again on Sunday against Southwest Baptist in their home opener at 1 p.m. They played the Bearcats last season, picking up the 2-1 win at home. Megan McKay and Jamie Dotson recorded the 2 goals of the game, with the goal being McKay's only goal of the season and one of Dotson's 7, which was tied for first on the team with Jamie Fowler. Though Fowler returns for the Tigers, they will miss the production from Jamie Dotson, who recently graduated. Both women's and men's cross country get their season started this Saturday as they take on Christian Brothers in the Memphis Twilight Tournament in Memphis. We can look forward to the performers this weekend as Ouachita women's cross country returns all 5 of their 2022 all-conference runners. Taylor Coeth, J.C. McGregor, and Nacy Natchtagal were all first-teamers, while Macy Cash and Mackenzie Davis both made second team. McGregor and Davis were also all-conference in 2021, and Coeth was all-conference in 2020 as she's returning as a graduate student. This Tigers squad is expected to do great things as they come into the season number 1 in the GAC preseason coaches poll. The men's cross-country team is also expected to have a fantastic season, coming in at number 3 in the preseason coaches poll. This Tiger squad is also bringing back 3 all-conference runners, Whit Lawrence, who made first team, and Evan Armitage and Cade Swindle, who both made second team. Well, this just continues to be a busy week for Ouachita Athletics, as Ouachita women's tennis also starts their season this Friday and Saturday in Tahlequah, Oklahoma, against the Northeastern State Riverhawks in the Rumble by the River. Despite a 5-6, 0-5 record in the GAC last season, the Tigers were able to come away with 4 combined wins in last year's Rumble by the River event. This year's squad returns 2 All-Great American Conference players in Austin Crocker and Allie May. Crocker was the second first-teamer from Ouachita since her coach Courtney Chumbley in 2012, and Crocker maintained the number 1 spot in singles for the Tigers throughout the regular season and the number 1 spot in doubles along with teammate Natalia Zamora Capriolo. She totaled 6 wins in singles and 5 wins in doubles. May was recognized as the GAC Elite Scholar Athlete last season, carrying the highest GPA in the GAC. And again, the emphasis for Ouachita has always been, they're student athletes, but they are students before athletes, and they have been representing well in the GAC. To end our Tiger Prowl preview, we end it with volleyball. Ouachita Lady Tiger Volleyball is coming in at number 4 in the GAC preseason coaches poll after posting a 19-12, 10-6 record in 2022. Coach Allison Frizzell Kaiser's group improved a lot, especially after going 9-20, 4-12 in the GAC in 2021. This season, they hit the road to participate in the A&M Kingsville Invitational, where they will take on their host, the Texas A&M Kingsville Javelinas, Friday at 11 a.m. But they also get to play New Mexico Highland Cowgirls at 3 p.m. And guess what? It doesn't stop there. They play again the next day in another doubleheader. They'll play Tiffin University at 8:30 a.m. and Colorado State Pueblo at 2:30 p.m. And I could not play for them because I could definitely not do that 8:30 game. It is certainly a busy weekend for the Tigers, and I had a chance to catch up with Coach Frizz, and she had some great things to say about her program and the upcoming season. Unfortunately, technology has happened, and I imagine that some of you can understand when great content suddenly disappears from the face of the earth. Like I said, Coach Frizz had some great stuff, and you'll just have to trust me on that. And if Coach Frizz is listening, I apologize. I know your team would have appreciated your comments. Now, I did ask Coach Frizz about the importance of these early season tournaments, and she said it gives her a great opportunity to see what type of team she is coaching and sort of who is able to stand out initially. Ouachita is coming into 2023 with practically the same squad as last season. The 2022 freshman class was utterly dominant. Riley Brazil was voted GAC Freshman of the Year and All-GAC Second Team. Courtney Hansen joins Brazil on the All-GAC Second Team after ranking third in the GAC in assist with 992. Emily Adams earned a spot on the GAC Honorable Mention Team, and Haley Fairchild was first on the team in blocks and fourth in points. And as I mentioned, all four of those were freshmen, first-year players, not redshirt freshmen, true freshmen having a tremendous impact right out of the gate. Coach Frizz had plenty to say about that 2022 class, and she said it was actually the upperclassmen that took those freshmen under their wing and guided them so that they could be as successful as possible. She said they acted like moms, the upperclassmen did, and they did that so they could worry about things that maybe didn't necessarily relate to play on the court. It was so that the freshmen could just focus on playing their best volleyball. One of the upperclassmen, Kayla Steinmeier, is now entering her senior year, but she's had to juggle volleyball and her nursing major. And Steinmeier's gotten the nod for the all-academic team in the conference, all while ranking third on the team in points and kills in 2022. Being a nursing major and one of the best players on the volleyball court, that's just hard to do. That's just difficult. I wouldn't know it, but I can tell you it's pretty hard. Lexi Castello, who recently graduated, has been one of the best players for Coach Frizz for a number of years. And Coach Frizz said that filling her position is tough because she was a 4-year starter, one of the best defensive players on the court at any given time. But there are some candidates that can fill that position, such as Avery Jouse, and she had a phenomenal season last year in 2022. We will not truly know until their debuts just how impactful the 2023 freshman class is, but Coach Frizz did mention how Leah Gardner has been able to earn a starting spot as a middle blocker. But we will still probably see the other freshmen get opportunities. I asked Coach Frizz if her strategy with the freshmen will be to throw them into the fire or to manage their usage, and you can tell she's a good coach by the way that she says that she will throw them in when they prove they are ready. She's not going to rush them, but for now, she will slowly implement them into play so that they can become accustomed to the GAC and to college volleyball. Since this team has had plenty of success with freshmen, I will go ahead and name some of the freshmen, actually all the freshmen that we'll possibly get to see this season. Kylie Kiston from Freeburg, Illinois, Kaylee Thedford from Pearland, Texas, Leah Gardner from Crandall, Texas, Emma Hill from Greenbrier, Arkansas, Anne-Marie Tice from Hot Springs, Arkansas, and Savannah Whitaker from Forney, Texas. This team also adopted a new mantra, hoping to continue to enforce the winning attitude during the season. And again, I apologize for the absence of Coach Frizz's interview. Definitely would have been a lot better than me just telling you about what she said. But hopefully the wrath of technology will not strike again. I am personally very excited for this upcoming Tiger Athletics season, and there are so many events to keep up with. I know our sports information department will be very busy and doing a phenomenal job as always, obviously. Now for our last segment, I'd like to highlight some athletes who have come out of the GAC who have gone on to do some incredible things in sports, pro or otherwise. And I know I will miss plenty of names, but this week's focus is on players who have gotten recent NFL opportunities. To start off our GAC Overachiever segment, Ouachita's own Gregory Jr. has made the 53-man roster for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Congratulations, Greg. He's worked very hard to get to this point. For those that don't know who Gregory Jr. is, he was drafted last season by the Jaguars, becoming the first Ouachita Tiger to ever be drafted into the NFL. Jr. only played one game last season after spending a lot of time on the practice squad, but he did play pretty well, but he needed this preseason to really set him apart, especially in kind of a deep cornerback room. And, well, I said he needed to play well, and guess what? He did. In 3 games playing cornerback, he recorded 7 total tackles, an interception, and a fumble recovery on special teams. And, of course, this is against guys that are, trying to keep a job. They're trying to, just make it to a team, and he's playing against a bunch of desperate guys. But, his play prevailed, and he was excellent. For Oklahoma Baptist, former wide receiver Keelan Harris was cut by the Atlanta Falcons, as well as former East Central receivers David Moore and Trinity Benson, who were cut by the Buccaneers and the Lions, respectively. Now, despite being cut, those that know football, know the NFL, know that that's not the end of the story. There's a great chance that all 3 players land spots on practice squads somewhere, as David Moore has been an NFL veteran, especially with the Seahawks, and then Trinity Benson spent some time with the Lions, and Keelan Harris is a young receiver in teams like that. Tanner Hudson, tight end out of SAU, was also cut by the Cincinnati Bengals. Again, he's another NFL veteran, playing most of his seasons with the Giants and the Buccaneers. But he'll probably still have a chance to contribute somewhere else, as teams are always in need of tight ends. Now, Segun Alubi, he's a former Harding Bison who transferred to San Diego State after the 2019 season. He was able to survive final roster cuts, and he made the Indianapolis Colts roster. Congratulations to him. And for those that don't know, he had 5.5 sacks in 2019 for Harding, and he's been in the NFL for a little bit, but he's finally been able to prevail and get on that roster. To wrap this up, I just want to mention that the Ouachita Sports Digital Network, of which I'm a part of, will be doing its first broadcast of the season this Sunday for Ouachita women's soccer, as the Tigers host the Southwest Baptist Bearcats at 1 p.m. Thank you for listening to the first episode of the Roar Rundown Sports Podcast. I am Chris Gay, and I hope you will be able to join us next week, as we have plenty more on the docket involving the Tigers and the Great American Conference. Have a good rest of your day, and go Tigers.